I don't know what you're up to.
Bad news.
I know it. I know there were ninjas here.
What?
Yeah, you must be a ninja.
Only a year after the release of Pandora Tomorrow, Ubisoft would keep the ball rolling with their next Splinter Cell titled Chaos Theory, which, holy shit, it's so good. Instead of simply making more of the previous game, they expanded upon their core designs and really went hard into the stealth formula more than what the series was known for at the time. While some mechanics have fallen to the wayside and are forgotten, they really honed in on what worked. A little over a year has passed since the events of Pandora Tomorrow, and tensions are rising between China, Japan, and North and South Korea. Japan has created the Information Self-Defense Force, otherwise known as the ISDF, as a reaction to the Georgian information crisis that took place in the first game. Since we're in the modern age, information attacks are commonplace, and Japan is being blamed for China and North Korea's recent data breaches or some shit. Their way of retaliating is by blocking the Yellow Sea, affecting one of Japan's major shipping lanes. The United States deploys the USS Walsh as a show of force to hopefully calm things down in the region. Instead, somehow, North Korea sinks a battleship claiming that the launch was unintentional. All while this is happening, Sam Fisher is tracking down something called mass kernels in Peru, and since he's the top guy for this sort of thing, he's sent to North Korea to investigate. Now, a lot of the setup is no different than what we're used to. It very much sets the scene, but I think playing these so close together is making them all blend in with each other a bit too much. This iteration of the game came with a complete graphics overhaul. Models are more complex and textures don't feel as flat and boring. Lighting is still well executed, and because of these upgrades, this feels like a real sequel rather than more the base game. The thing that stands out here the most is Sam's animations. He does this cartoony standstill whenever you stop moving and then goes back into a position more comfortable after a few seconds. Then when you get close to an enemy, Sam changes his gait, getting ready to grab whoever he's behind.
Hey girl, been to Appalachia, come to the mountains and I'll grab you.
These aren't that big of a deal, but they do a good job of immersing you into the game because you can see that the character is moving the way you'd expect them to, and little animations like this for a third-person stealth game is something you don't see often. I really like these animations because we've all walked this same exact way while sneaking through the house in the middle of the night. And the upgrades don't stop there. The entire level design philosophy changed to not make these things feel so streamlined. Instead of going from point A to point B via one linear hallway to the next, levels are intricately and meticulously designed to feel like real feasible places. Sometimes these maps will circle back on each other, or a side objective will have you backtrack a bit, but these environments are all engaging from beginning to end. Of course, if you want to experiment here and there, you might find a route that you never would have thought of. Can I climb that? There's no way I can climb that structure, right? There's no fucking way. Okay, I can grab onto the... No, there's no... Oh my god, it's actually letting me do it. Holy shit. Hell yeah, dude. That's... Oh my god, that's great, honestly. That's fucking cool as shit that I can just do that. I found that and I was able to pull it off. It feels so good to find stuff like this on your own. However, they do feel less abundant and meant for everyone to see rather than the player observing the environment and figuring it out on their own. Which I get from a game design standpoint, since this was on the Halo machine and other consoles in that generation, they were probably having to work around a lot of limitations. Ambience this time around is more of the same, but way more important than before. You can use it to hide the sound you make, and it puts more emphasis on what's going on around you. Like, is the sound of the rain covering your footsteps, or is that annoying radio now your friend?
I hear something? Footsteps, maybe.
That was the last of the weapons crates, Sam. Now we'll be able to track them wherever they go and see just how connected Lacerda is.
I'm honestly more shocked that this isn't like a standard of some sorts. I'm so used to just crouching to quietly walk past the enemies, but this takes it to a whole new level, even for Splinter Cell. The only reason I can think of as to why no other game does this is because there's no diegetic way of displaying it without forcing players to look into the corner. Many other games have fun ways of doing it for light, but for sound it may be too much of a challenge. As for voice acting, Sam has a lot more lines than what he did previously.
Something going on with the ventilation system?
Oh, hey, who are you?
Pretend I'm Harry Tuttle.
Who?
I'm an ill-tempered and heavily armed heating engineer who's asking questions about your ventilation system. Nice place you got here. Decorate it yourself.
Who are you?
The landlord. Rent's overdue.
What do you want?
Where can I find Dvorak?
I don't know any Dvorak.
This is thanks to the design team for making interrogations a lot more useful.
What are you doing down here?
Who the hell?
Off to a bad start. Talk or die.
Okay. We're on VIP protection. This floor.
Most of the goon audio is also better. Some of it still falls flat, but not terribly so.
Oh yeah? Back in 2004, that thing in Georgia, I had a contract to help secure this oil rig. We got attacked by a ninja.
You're crazy.
Tell you what, you don't believe me? Why don't we trade places and I'll patrol where the anti-ninja flooring is?
Yeah, emptying his liquor cabinet and playing video games. He's got the new Prince of Persia. Yeah, I heard it's awesome. Gonna be game of the year, man.
Have you seen the newspapers? No. What is it? It's Hernandez.
Hernandez? No. He's injured?
Worse.
No. Dead?
Worse. He's been traded to the Melgar Football Club.
Traded? Never. Impossible.
The music at this point is really what you'd expect for the formula. It changes depending on alert level, and every map has its own set of thematic music. Don't take this as me underselling it or anything, because at its core, the music design and how it's used is something to be praised, but this is my third video on Splinter Cell. We understand how the music works by now. Although there is a bank heist mission with the perfect musical score accompanying it. It's so groovy and so spy-like, it just feels right. Gameplay-wise, everything still remains the same with the addition of the audio meter we talked about earlier. Again, this is likely due to the devs finding a really solid formula and sticking to it. Now that doesn't mean that this is strictly just more Splinter Cell. They made guards more reactive and not completely defensive when the lights are out. They'll pull out a flashlight or flare to light up the area and investigate. I don't know why, but my jaw dropped when I first saw this, since I can't think of any other games off the top of my head that do this. Like, yeah, it's normal for a guard to go and relight a torch or something, but for them to become a walking obstacle adds a whole new layer of strategy to the game. With this, they also upgraded your trusty pistol by adding a portable EMP to it. This is useful to disable electronics while saving ammo and distracting guards in the process. If you can't tell, they really push for players to take a more stealthy approach rather than gun down everyone in the game, to the point to where you can complete some levels without ever interacting with a non-essential NPC. They actually emphasize this playstyle, since now each level gives you a rating at the end based on how many times you've been caught or how many guards you've killed, and further emphasize it with a loadout selection at the start of every level. Outside of the pistol though, equipment hasn't changed much. A lot of these additions are great, but one thing did bother me. Kind of. A lot of the parkour was pushed to the wayside. Not that I think it's the best thing in the world and shouldn't be untouched, but I forgot it existed. This could have been because I wasn't looking for these opportunities, but I barely found the need for them. These are probably way more useful in a ghost run, but not many situations presented themselves to where that was my only option. Now, if you're someone who wants to perfect each and every level in the game, then the rating system is enough to keep you going after the credits roll. For myself, however, going for a better score is not really a good reason for me to play a game over and over again, but here, because of how well the map designs are, there's ample reason to go back and try different things. Then there's the PvP mode that returns from Pandora tomorrow, and a co-op mode that you and a buddy can run through. I'll link guides down below on how to get those working. So on a first playthrough on the hardest difficulty, it took me right at 11 hours to beat the game. This is with many retries and occasionally going out of my way to complete some side objectives. Thankfully though, when the song and dance gets old, you start to see the story begin to wrap up, so the last few hours don't feel like you're playing the game just to finish it. Now if you want to run through the easiest difficulty and play every level perfectly though, it'll probably last around 8+ hours or so, and that's a lot more tolerable. I do not recommend playing these titles back to back because even with breaks I was feeling the burnout. Before you even start the game, I highly advise you to check out Joshua's guide down below and read it carefully. There's a few things that can fuck with the overall game physics, and AI behavior and pathing can be altered to make some areas impossible to complete without being detected. As you might expect, this comes with yet another EAX sound fix as well as FOV changes, fixes for AMD cards, controller support, and a widescreen fix we've seen before. Aside from technical issues with a game that's old enough to drink, NPCs react the way you'd expect them to for the most part, except when it comes to lights. By now you're accustomed to turning them off or shooting them out, but sometimes it feels like they shouldn't acknowledge their existence. Here's what I mean. I go into a restroom and turn off the lights as a couple of goons are on their way down the elevator. I wanted to just let them pass by and then take the elevator, but somehow they knew that the lights were meant to be left on.
Who put the lights out?
It's something little, but it happens way too often to be ignored and can kind of put you in really hard spots. Is it minor? Yes. Is it annoying? Also yes. The plot here is again self-contained for the most part, with characters returning to continue their roles in the universe. I'm liking this approach so far. If you don't like the look of the first two but can tolerate the graphics of Chaos Theory, you can start here without much context of the prior entries. Although the story does feel like doing things just because, it's still serviceable. It's not bad, but we're here for the gameplay. So looking at the story as a backdrop instead of the driver is appropriate. Anyway, I'm keeping this brief, so click here to avoid spoilers. Sam's first task is to confirm whether or not North Korea intentionally sank the USS Walsh. Upon learning that no, North Korea did not say A5 sinks your battleship, you get to witness North Korean leadership still not give a shit. Fearing retaliation from the West, North Korea launches a full-scale invasion into South Korea. Sam redeploys his soul to hack into their computer systems to dig up any information as to why the missile was launched. Within the data exist traces that the missile launch sequence was triggered in Japan by a PMC group led by Douglas Shetland, the guy who you rescued at the beginning of Pandora Tomorrow. A lot of questions are starting to pop up, but no answers. Third Echelon decides the best course of action would be for Sam to track down and interrogate Shetland since his organization is behind what's starting to become World War III. Before confronting him in a Japanese bathhouse, you eavesdrop on a conversation revealing that the leader of the Japanese ISDF, Admiral Otomo, has been working with Shetland by using the mass kernels you've been investigating since the beginning of the game to hack into missile systems to launch unprovoked attacks in order to start a global conflict. With this information, you deal with Shetland.
You wouldn't shoot an old friend.
Apprehend Otomo and prevent World War III.
Admiral Otomo, former head of the Japanese Information Self-Defense Force, made a surprise confession today on the witness stand at the Hague War Crimes trial. Otomo openly admitted conspiring to instigate war between the Koreas and the United States, claiming that In other news, China's ambassador to the United States, Long Dan, received the Nobel Peace Prize today for his efforts in defusing the Korean conflict. President Bowers today addressed the nation following the crisis that brought us to the brink of war.
Finally, I want to take a moment to thank those unsung heroes in the intelligence community who may very well have saved our nation and the world from certain disasters.
Thank you, Mr. President.
The boss seems happy. How about that raise?
They're cutting us back. You'll have to settle for a vacation.
Yeah, right.
It's a movie. Nothing wrong with that, and I do enjoy the fact that there are some conspiracy elements to it, but it's nothing to write home about. It's engaging, and that's about it. This is the best of the series thus far. Granted, we still have 3 other titles to cover, but I really like this one. Just something about how most things improved make this feel like a true sequel. I think most of the improvements stem from the core design of the levels and how they flow depending on how you play. That doesn't mean you can't go balls to the wall in the game, but the fact that you have a choice in the matter speaks to how well designed the whole thing is. Then it becomes a real challenge if you go in attempting a no detect run, and I think that's where most players will have the most fun. I can see why Chaos Theory is a favorite among Splinter Cell fans. It feels like a whole new game while still staying true to its core values without being a carbon copy of the previous 2 entries. The fantasy of being a Tier 1 operator is strong, and the equipment you have, while limited, is still more than enough to finish the job. In my opinion, this is the best of the series so far.